Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chasing Rank. We are here with another live podcast. Hopefully, game week 2 was nice to you because it definitely wasn't nice to everybody this weekend. Joining me today, we've got a very, very special guest. We'll get to him in a second because there is some fun facts about our special guest. But Dom, as resident guest, how you going, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad. Very average game week, and we'll get into it. But I ruined my game week 3 before game week 2 even finished. So can't wait to let everyone know what happened there.
We'll get into your moves there, and Dom, I'll let you introduce our guest this week as well.
We've got a young Damo, who is my brother-in-law, long-time fan of the pod, great fantasy Premier League player over the years. So I thought one Damo in, one Damo out.
Yeah, like for like. No, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for getting in. I'm not sure if Damo 1.0 is going to be lingering around. He is away on business at the moment, so we'll see if he pops in at all throughout the stream, which I'm sure he will, and he'll love that little plug there for him. So, as we've all alluded to, game week 2 was a very, very interesting week. If you are in the chat already, we can see there's a few people lingering around. Let us know in the comments what you scored in game week 2, because I think the variance this week is going to be massive. Depending on who went to Arsenal assets and which assets you went to, there was some pretty high variance. So to start our wrap-up of game week 2, we're actually going to look at Damo's team first, because out of us on the podcast, you actually scored the most amount of points, Damo. So do you want to talk us through your side, but then give us sort of a strength of your team and sort of an area for an improvement making over the next few weeks?
Well, obviously, I started with Palmer captain because West Ham are a bit of a rabble, as Chelsea put 5 past. But pretty happy with Pedro. Didn't really see the point in taking him out last week. I think that was very knee-jerky from everyone. Kukure is probably the best defender at that price at the moment, I think, because he gives everything. So he pretty much did what he had to do. The only transfer which will probably now everyone's gonna be selecting is probably Gakpo, because he was low ownership and pretty much done where it's over. So, but apart from that, the only issues I can see that I've got is probably Solanke could probably go out, but I'll give him one more game week for now. I've got 2 free transfers. So, yeah, Palmer's probably on his way out, but I want to give him one more just because it's him and he can do anything. So,
I think that's going to depend on injury news, isn't it? Like if it comes out that he's going to miss this week and then to doubt after the international break, then I think we'll see a skyrocket in his sales. So that might actually make the decision for us. Probably, yeah. What led you to Gakpo over Wirtz? Because that's a move where not many people went the Salah Gakpo double up.
To be honest, Gakpo obviously his preseason form was like unreal.
Elite.
And Wirtz coming in from the Bundesliga, I've never really been like the biggest fan of it, especially him, massive hype, probably the biggest transfer in the Prem. So I didn't really want to make that risk. And he's at a bit of a weird price point too. So Gakpo's nailed. He plays pretty much 90 minutes, and he's like, Prem proven. He scores, assists, can do it all. So I couldn't really see why not. I think he was sitting at like under 10% for game week 1 anyway, which is
100%.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he was someone who was massively on the radar. If I was going to go double Liverpool, it would have been Salah Gakpo. I think the first couple fixtures, like after Bournemouth, is what, I'm wearing a Liverpool shirt. I'd love to have as many Liverpool assets in my team as possible, and Salah's the only one that I've got. But I think for me, it was the Newcastle and Arsenal fixtures in particular before Bournemouth. Then you've got the Isak, move that's lingering. And now Ekatike's hit his straps like a house on fire. I'm actually really intrigued to see what we do after the transfer window. But apparently Thomas Frank came out today or yesterday and pretty much said the spot's Richarlison's to lose. So just something to monitor, I guess, is Solanke's price. You don't want him dropping to 7.4 and getting out of that price bracket because you've got a Mateta sitting there who has would you even call Villa a tough fixture at this rate? I don't know, but you get Sunderland and you get another good, I think Burnley back to back. It's one of those ones where we'll talk about my team later, but Mateta is someone who's massively on my watch list because of the Palace fixtures. But look, I can see why you've got off to a good start. You're definitely well ahead of Dom and I in the league at the moment. You're at, where are you at here? I think you're sitting at 1.9 million, which really doesn't mean a whole lot at the moment. But we're in hunt, which is the main thing. So the only other thing, I guess, what are your thoughts on Trafford with this news?
That's probably why I've got the transfer. He had a shocker, yeah. The problem was I was going to start Dubravka as well, and I was like, no, I'll back the City defense in. It could be a nil. Obviously, wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. It's more of if I've got the transfer, I'll use it. If not, I'll just roll with it until I wild card. But yeah, I do like keeping 2 transfers pretty much like majority of the time, just in case I have to change a position. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Obviously, depending on Palmer and what I do with Solanke as well. Yeah, this week's going to be a bit hairy, but we'll see how we go.
Especially coming into an international break.
It's hard, very hard.
I mean, I guess the saving grace is you do have a Dubravka there, and then you just have to manage the sales. I think you just don't want to get priced out, especially with him being 5 million as well. Like you're at a good spot where you can pivot to sells if, the Forest defense, like we'll talk about Forest defense on my team, or if you want to double up with the Chelsea defense with Sanchez, like you are in a good spot. Even if it's like the Fulham defense, you want to go to Leno. So there's options there. So look, I think very, very strong start for you there, Damo. The second highest for our league is me. So we'll get to my team and then we'll get to Dom's after. So my side, 56 points on the week. I would have taken that, I reckon, if you offered it to me at the start of the game week. My big area of concern right now, I mean, everyone's got Palmer pretty well, so we'll talk about that collectively. But mine's actually Murillo, 90th minute yellow card. Very, very frustrating own at the moment. He's only had 5 and 6 defensive contributions. And I've been saying this.
To be the DC beast.
Yeah, and the reason I'm not super disappointed in the Murillo pick is I was always going there anyway. Like I had Munoz in a couple drafts. I had Tarkovsky in a couple drafts, which you guys saw in preseason. But Murillo was always, if I was picking 5.5, it was Murillo. And if I was picking 2, it was Pedro Porro. So that's the only pick this year that I've stuck to my gut with, and I got it wrong because the other picks were Elliot Anderson, who now it's actually funny that him and Saar have kind of evened out in points because that was a decision. But the other decision was Chris Richards. So that's what steered me away from the other 5.5. I went Richards and Diouf, which has probably hurt me as well. So overall, I don't think I'm too far away from what I would have scored if I'd gone the other way. But the Tarkovsky was the out in that move in order to get Richards, Diouf and Saar. But Tarkovsky, someone else, and Elliot Anderson, whatever it ended up being. So, look, end of the day, it is what it is. Salah's saved my ass twice so far in 2 game weeks with very, very late contributions in both games. And he's keeping my team relevant. Ollie Watkins is the one for me who everyone's talking about moving him. A lot of people were talking about Gyökeres, which fair enough with the Havertz injury, but now I just won't go there. And I know this week it's a tough fixture. They've got Crystal Palace, which means I've got Richards versus Watkins, which we'll get to later in my team selection for this week. But I'm going to back the Aston Villa fixtures because after this week, they go Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley, Tottenham to round out the first 8 game weeks. He's playing 90 minutes. He's not being subbed. I guess the only concern is if Nicholas Jackson signs between now and the end of the transfer window, then you could start seeing 75 minutes again like we did with John Duran last week. Again, Bruno Fernandes saves his score with defensive contribution points. If he scores that penalty, I'll win a major head-to-head league that I'm in as well. I lost to a bench boost by 3 points, which is frustrating. And if he converts that, it ends up being like a 12-pointer instead of a 2-pointer because you'll get bonus with the defensive contribution. So it's just really annoying that, Bruno actually looked pretty rattled with that penalty as well from the referee. I don't think that's going to be a concern. And for me, he's just not going anywhere. Like, I know it's frustrating. He blaked against Arsenal, but we knew that was a hard fixture anyway. And then he could have got an assist in that game if Dorgu had converted his chance, and then he misses a penalty against Fulham at the weekend. His numbers are looking solid across the board. He's, 0.86 goal involvement against Fulham, and obviously a lot of that came from the penalty, but then 0.45 even against Arsenal. So I'm not too concerned about my side. I just think I'm going to tick along quite nicely, and I'll talk about my transfer plans a little bit later. And Dom, you got a lot of explaining to do, Dom. So I'm just going to put your team up, and you just talk us through what your team's doing and where it's at now as well.
Okay, so obviously Sanchez, we know what happens there. Concedes because he can't catch a ball, standard. But he's good for save points, and they'll get the odd clean sheet here and there. So he's set to forget, I think. Nico Williams, I don't know. That's probably.
I still don't mind it though, because they've only conceded 2 goals. One was from the spot against Brentford, who did nothing, and then the Salah goal was well taken. So I still, like, people are talking about Forest, and I know there's all this issue with Nuno, but I actually don't think it's that bad. And they're going into West Ham, Arsenal, Burnley, and Sunderland, well. I think. Yeah, West Ham at home, you just bin the Arsenal game off. Then they've got Burnley away and Sunderland at home. I think you just got to sit tight with Forest, and they'll pay you back long term. Same with Palace.
Yeah, agreed.
Anderson, he's my 4.5 DC guy. Hit it again. Same. I don't really expect much from him. Same as probably Sanchez, the odd clean sheet. Porro, we've all talked about him. Gunn, and then Spurs have been really, really good. Paul and I watched the game together. We couldn't believe it. But yeah, maybe they're just not Spursy anymore. Look solid at the back. Look all round great. Dewsbury Hall, I thought he looked average. That's a
At least he played 90 minutes in the 10, though, in an attacking team. So there's a positive there.
With Dibbling coming in, I don't know what happens there. If Grealish moves to the 10, but
and Dyer's injured at the moment.
Everton looked really good at home, so I think their home fixtures are a target fixture. Gakpo, I've been so happy with Gakpo. Tossed up between him, but I'm so happy I went him over Verts. Another 2 assists. I think you got 2 bonus. Here's my guy, Saka.
Yeah, what do you do?
His hammy goes again. Like, made of glass. Like, there's 4 weeks, What's his price point? His price?
10.
10, like, come on. So I don't know where I moved that one to, so I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I actually can't move it because going on to my next point. And then obviously Reinders, Haaland, just City went on, not fussed there. Watkins we touched on, same for everyone. And Fulkrug is a donkey, so he's already gone. He's gone.
We're talking about that privately, weren't we, about Fulkrug, and that's just been the biggest catfish of all time. They actually look
so good pre-season.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Against Premier League teams too.
I was going to say, Dom, whilst we move into the next section, do you just want to check your mic and make sure it's either your AirPods or your laptop, just because it's quite muffly at the moment. So just have a quick play around and try the different mic settings. But what we are going to do, so if you watched the Sunday review that I put up on the channel, I've gone through a lot of these plots. I've found a couple that I think are really important to have a look at. So if you bear with me, I will get some images up for us to have a look at, because there's some really big talking points that have come out of the game week. And the first one I want to bring up is actually from the Liverpool game against Newcastle. And this tells the tale of the game. So when you look at the XG now, around the 45th minute is when Anthony Gordon gets sent off in this game as well. And Ekitike goes and scores about 20 seconds into the second half. Dom didn't believe me because he didn't see much of this game. We were absolutely dreadful. Like, Mo Salah in very interesting positioning as well, which I will bring up now. So obviously that's the XG. And if I bring up the positioning of the Liverpool team, because this actually tells the story a little bit more. Obviously, tactically, we had to change a few things. So Mohamed Salah, it was just he was just non-existent. Like every time we went on the attack, it all went through Ekitike. And it was really interesting to see that you can see exactly where the play was for us. What was frustrating was that this was happening mostly against 10 men. So the fact that we couldn't exploit space, especially to someone like a Salah against 10 men, is really concerning. And Damien, I don't know if it was in our chat, Dom. I think it was, but you were just asleep, obviously. And Damo was blowing his team up and he's going, Salah's a waste of money. And Harry's mentioned the point as well. You know, Salah owners have been quite lucky for 14.5 million. What you get from Salah is you get the 90 minutes and you get more than 90 minutes. Gakpo got 90 minutes today and he come off as soon as the extra time added time started. Salah plays 99.9% of game time. So today, that meant he played 111 minutes, and that's when he gets the assist. He gets the assist in the 108th minute, whatever it is. The question I'm posing is how much is minutes like that worth in the Premier League when we know that goals come late in games? It might not be worth points per million worth, compared to someone else, but is the opportunity being on the pitch that late the factor that's deciding it? Because that's the reason he gets the assist today. And again, Szoboszlai last week would have 100% taken that shot on. He did it because he didn't bounce Salah last week against Bournemouth for an easy one-on-one. Last week, Szoboszlai took the chance on at 2-2 and he scuffed it completely. This week, he does the perfect work and he dummies it and we score the goal and away we go. So I'm not agreeing that Salah's worth the money, but you get a 100-minute man penalty-taking option that's the talisman for Liverpool. I still think you go there if you've got him. I don't think either way, like Haaland or Salah, you're not going to change your structure with 2 transfers anyway. So I think if you've got him, you just hold him. But if, later down the line, there is a fixture swing for Man City, which we'll look at after. When you guys see that graph, what stands out to you? Just talk to me.
Dom, you go.
I didn't watch the games. It's hard for me to tell.
Fair enough.
But yeah, touched on.
Look at that midfield four, though. So Szoboszlai got man of the match. He ran the show from right back. Damo got it spot on. I was ripping him all weekend about it. I said, there's no chance Szoboszlai plays right back, but he played very inverted. Like it was, he literally played next to like Curtis Jones. This doesn't tell the whole picture. I don't know if you can see my mouse at all. Gravenberch did sit a little bit deeper than that line of Jones, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch, and it was almost like a diamond in a sense, because what happened was Newcastle get the red card. They then went in, like the whole game just went into the middle of the pitch because they went to 2 up front with Alanga and Barnes, and then everything started to like compress
4-3-2,
until we went, they played 4-3-2 until we then went 2-2, and then we started getting a bit more width in the game. So, Dim makes a good point about Gakpo. That's more off the ball than with the ball. Dim, like Gakpo is picking the ball up in higher areas as well. But what I'm liking is the movement of Hugo Ekitike. That's why I'm concerned about the Isak transfer. Not that I don't rate Isak, because he's clearly the best striker in the league. But I'm concerned about us changing the structure and the shape of a team that's working. Now, we're not defending because our defense is garbage. But it was garbage last year too. We weren't keeping a lot of clean sheets. We were going to outscore teams. What's frustrating me at the moment is it's just taking us some time to get the balance with the fullbacks. And then Frimpong being injured is not helping. But Kanate is just not it for me. He's just really started the season poorly. And I'm actually quite concerned because he's playing for a contract at Real Madrid. And the way he's playing, I wouldn't take him if I was Real Madrid. So he's constantly at fault for goals. Virgil van Dijk has been fantastic. I've said it in our chat today. He could be the best 6 million defender. Like I know Cucurella has the attacking threat, but Virg,
15 DC.
20 and 15 DC in 2 games now. This morning was probably a little bit of an anomaly because even with 10 men, Newcastle were like purely on the front foot, which is shown by the XG. But what that then allowed was Virgil did not lose one aerial ball. Like he was so good to the point where Newcastle had to go and target Kanate. and that's where the second goal comes from because they just hoof a long ball up. Burn pins Kanate. No one heads it on, and Osula goes through and scores. And I'm thinking, how the hell are we conceding to a long ball like that? But then you look, the one time they avoid Verge is when we concede. So just some food for thought. Like, I'm not asking for too much of input there, but it was just, I feel like not a lot of people have gone into depth with the Liverpool game, and we've had a bit of an opportunity there to talk through those assets. What are your questions around the Liverpool assets? Because we have Arsenal this week, but then the fixtures open up once again for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Is anyone concerned about any player or Verts, or are you guys pretty happy with your Liverpool assets?
I don't have Verts, so I got very, very, very happy with Gakpo.
Back on Salah, I think if you own him, obviously if you don't have him, don't go out and buy him. But I'm pretty sure, like, for his price, and if you do want to get rid of him, there's nowhere to go. Like, Saka's injured, Palmer's a doubt. There's no one. If you got Bruno, you can't move from him. Like, where are you going to go? Haaland, yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like Salah's, because he's on the pitch like 99.99% of the time, he's just inevitable to get a return. It doesn't matter like how bad Liverpool are playing or if it's late in the game or this, like, it could be anything. He just finds a way all the time. Yeah. I didn't watch the game, but like looking at the score, you just know, like, it's too. You just know he's going to get involved every single time. It happened last year. It happens all the time. I feel like with City, if Haaland's not on, that's it. The game's done. Like, he goes missing.
Yeah.
And Dom, how early did I say that on Saturday night as well with Haaland? You knew after he missed that first header, you just knew that he was not going to get a return. You just knew it wasn't their night. So that's where I'm at with Liverpool at the moment. Like, I don't think we're in a world where you need to, like, 2 transfers is all you got, really. I don't think it's worth changing your structure with 2 transfers. Like, I've had a few questions about free hits and whatnot, and I'm still not a huge fan of that this week. Like, there's not great fixtures to target this week anyway. So I just be patient
as well.
Be patient. It's fine. So on screen, hopefully you guys can see this. So what I've got here on Fantasy Football Hub is over the next 5 game weeks. We've got game weeks 3 to 8. I've got the fixture difficulty sorted by attack. And yes, Dom, your mic is better. So it's actually interesting. Like, I've seen some people posting on YouTube and other things, and I don't know what game week range they're going from. Like, if you're going 6 weeks, I just want to see if that changes it. So it's interesting that it changes a little bit, but I've seen people talking about Tottenham's attacking fixtures being really good. Like, if I go overall, they're sitting in 5th. If you go in defense, it's actually not even in the top 12. So I don't know where people are getting. Oh, okay, they're getting it from goals, but why would goals and attack be? I don't know, whatever. It's a bit weird. I don't understand how goals and attacks are a different metric, but anyway, we'll filter it by attack because we want to include assist in that as well. It's interesting that Wolves, Man United, Leeds, Villa, Chelsea, and Spurs are your top 6 for teams to attack, with Bournemouth in 7th. It wouldn't surprise me if you go from game week 4 that Bournemouth just jumped straight up that ticker. Yeah. And there's a reason why I'm highlighting that, because I think Semenyo's arguably the best target this week if you're going for a early transfer. Like, people are avoiding the Bournemouth attack because of the harder run at the start. He missed an absolute sitter against Wolves as well. And if he got a double return once again, he would have been absolutely off the charts for that attacking potential. But Wolves, interesting enough that they're sitting first for attacking potential. So the easiest attacking fixtures, game weeks 3 to 9. Would not go near anyone from Wolves from the attack. They are linked to be losing Strand Larson, and there's just too much doubt around the rest of their attack. I do have an interesting graphic to show you guys, though, as well, if I can find the button, because I spoke about this on the weekend. Now it's about to load in, and we'll come back to this. There's 2 things that are interesting for me. Arias, who's meant to be a winger, is so, like, inverted, it's not even funny. And this David Moller Wolf bloke's their left back. So he has gone straight into the 8 Nuri role. So with some better fixtures, I think he could 100% be a good option in the defense. Agbadou is someone we spoke about at length in preseason. He's getting DC points. He's the there's something to be said about the middle centre back in a back three. So far, you've got Lacroix, who's the middle centre back for Crystal Palace, has got DC in both games. Agbadou missed it the first game, only just, and got it in the second game. Sepp Vandenberg got it twice for Brentford as well. And then there was one more.
Verge is pretty much playing as a.
Well, Verge is the only bloody defender. Yeah, so he's pretty much the only defender. So he's getting it. I mean, Tarkovsky's playing in a 2, but he often just throws himself at everything. But there's something to be said about these centre backs that play in the middle of a back three that have been getting DC points. So it's just something to be mindful of. But I'm really wanting to keep an eye on this David Wolf bloke, moving forward, because with Everton, Newcastle, Leeds, Tottenham, Brighton, Sunderland, Burnley, I'm not getting on him right now. But what this gives you, is it going to load in? Where's this? Let me get rid of this. Let me remove that and let me add that in. If you can get through Everton and Newcastle and Wolves starts to look better, if you can buy him in for Leeds, Tottenham, Brighton, Sunderland, Burnley, that might be an option, going into your wild card a bit later on. So that's just an option for Wolves. Man United, I think it's Bruno or nothing at the moment with regards to their attack. I just don't think I can trust Mbuemo or Cunha yet until Sesko's settled. But then, Leeds, Aston Villa, everyone knows about their fixtures. Chelsea, people are going to be struggling with this Chelsea attack because if Palmer's out long-term, then Esteval's numbers are looking fantastic. I think he's sitting third for midfielders, price 7.5 and under for expected goal involvement as well. So he's just really creative. But again, that obviously mostly came in a game against West Ham where they won 5-1. So take that with a pinch of salt because I think West Ham's a team to target for attacks. But then Bournemouth come in at 7 with Spurs at 6. So is there any attacks on that list there that you guys are potentially looking at targeting? I know we've spoken about Semenyo. Is there anyone else that you guys are looking at targeting?
Well, about Chelsea, I don't think Esteval's minutes, I wouldn't go there because he's rotating with Giddens, so I wouldn't trust him. I mean, Tottenham, kudos if he keeps it up, but I wouldn't buy him. I'd hold him definitely. Their fixtures, I don't know. West Ham away, and then Brighton.
And with potential of Savinho and a number 10 coming into Tottenham, that worries me about stability. And then I don't actually think Thomas Frank's going to play this 3-5-2 a whole lot because if you're not going to do it against City away, when are you going to do it?
Yeah, I was expecting it. I was so expecting it this week. Against City, so it looks like he's just sticking to his guns. It's working. Hasn't conceded a goal.
Yeah, I look personally for me, Dom. I don't know. I mean, you've made your transfers, so I actually was thinking about you today, and I was thinking if you actually played your wild card, I don't know if you'd get your transfers back or not. Might be something to research.
Well, I was supposed to bench boost this week, but it's not happening.
Those shambles. So I don't think there's any other real attackers though that I'm super keen on. Like someone I've got in my team, and the fixtures aren't great, but I think I mentioned him in the video today. It's Ismail Assar. He's just the type of talismanic forward who I think will thrive with a bit more responsibility.
Freedom.
I just
I think he goes two
freedom.
ways. It really goes
and they're
two
linked
ways,
with Conor Gallagher to come in. And I think if Gallagher comes in and plays that second advanced role as the playmaker, not to get him as the option, but if Gallagher goes in as that second 10 behind Mateta, I think it just makes Mateta and Sarr just like goal threats, and it makes Gallagher the playmaker. So it's just if they can just get someone, because it's just on loan, if they can just get in between now and the deadline, I would be like, I'm confident in Sarr anyway, and I was grateful that he scored against Forest because I was expecting a blank, and I was expecting a blank against Villa, and then it was like, all right, game week 4, I get this run of fixtures where it goes Sunderland and Burnley, and then we just start moving. So I was prepared to wear it for a few weeks with Crystal Palace here, and you get Villa, Sunderland, West Ham. Sorry, no Burnley, it was West Ham. So I'm just very, very keen for this run. Like Liverpool at home is not a great fixture, but again, we're not defending well. So I see that game having goals in it. And then Everton and Bournemouth, again, I expect Crystal Palace attack to be very good, and Mateta is going to feature at some point as well. Got an interesting question here from Harry because it's relevant to the Man United attack. Thoughts on Mbuemo and Cunha over Bruno? I'm still the Bruno camp because you just get so many more routes to points with Bruno. Like, I'm not sold on the other two just yet. And Buemo looks really good, and he's on left-sided set pieces as well. So I'm thinking about potentially going there, but I still think you pay up for Bruno. I just think his numbers overall look good. Same as Salah, he's always on the pitch. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'd probably disagree. I'd probably back in one of the attackers. Just looking at like Bruno, how deep he is, and now that they've actually got competent attackers, I still feel like you're backing in. Cunha looked really, really good. If I'm picking one, I'm going Cunha every day of the week. But I think they're a bit of a rabble at the moment. I wouldn't touch any of those attackers. Bruno's good because he's your safe bet. Like, they have to get something. They have to score a goal here and there, and it's probably going to come from him. Or like set pieces, but yeah, I just think they're very average at the moment. But if I were to pick one, I'd probably go Cunha. But
Damo?
Wouldn't touch them just yet.
Yeah, Bruno's probably the safest one. I wouldn't go with anyone else. I don't know. And Buemo was good at Brentford, but United, so
yeah, they're just a rabble.
Like, can't trust him. Bruno's the only one you can trust, but yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I didn't actually check the fixture before. I was actually thinking about getting rid of him, but then I saw they plays Burnley. So yeah,
you can't get rid of him.
Like,
Burnley.
Yeah.
If he does nothing here, then you say.
Yeah, I still think though, like, you can't expect, a huge performance against Arsenal and then he misses a penalty. Like, if he scores a penalty, no one's talking about Bruno not being worth it.
Correct.
So, like, you're the wrong side of a 70. You're 33% on a 77. A 0.77 xG chance. You know what I mean? Like, end of the day, it happens. Like, you saw Danny Welbeck missed his penalty this week as well. Like, people just expect good penalty takers to score every single penalty. It's just not realistic.
Yeah, and
it is a risk.
He's probably going to score his next 5.
Yeah, so that's, not a huge concern. You might be wondering why my eyes are darting. It's because I'm getting the Man United plot up because I forgot I didn't have it downloaded. So sorry. So let me actually present let me stop that one. God. And let's go to share screen and let's go to Between the Plots. So if you haven't actually seen this website, Between the Posts, it costs about £10 annually for the year to get all this fantastic data, which for me is massive because this kind of just reinforces the data that we see because you can kind of put the XGI numbers with the positional heat maps. And this gives me, you compare this with a heat map, but this is their average positioning over the 90 minutes. Obviously, you got Brian and Buemo sitting like as the out ball. And then you've got Mason Mount, Cunha, Dorgu. Like, Man United clearly are wanting to play with the ball on the left and then outlet to the right. So if you're looking at that data, if you're not saying Brian and Buemo is the option, then I'd be going Brian and Buemo because he gives you the right-sided corners and set pieces, and he's clearly the most or furthest forward attacker. And the other centre-back I forgot to talk about DC was De Ligt. Hit it in both games as well, and another middle centre-back. So just something to consider. So by looking at that, boys, does that change your thoughts and opinions? But look where Bruno is in relation to the rest of the play as well. Like, he's not... he's clearly sitting a line higher than Casemiro. And, if they do go and get a defensive midfielder, then I expect him to actually push further forward. Because right now, he's having to cover for Casemiro. He's got no legs.
Yeah.
I can't believe in Buemo. Jesus.
Like, if that was a different team, I'd be looking at it and, like, a bit more confidence. But again, it's United. Like, they could lose.
Why is Ugarte not starting is what I wonder as well. Is he injured? Like, you paid this money.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just about to say that too.
Because he hadn't had a preseason. Oh, wait, who are you talking about?
Ugarte.
No, I just don't think Amron rates him. It's funny because he had him at Sporting though too, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah, wasn't he? Yeah, I was going to say.
I reckon he'll give him a run. He'll give him a run next couple of weeks, surely. If they're not
Kobe Mainu,
points on the board. Yeah, where's he?
Yeah,
he's on the bench. He can't get a game.
Crazy.
Before we get into transfer plans, we're going to quickly just go over the best clean sheet odds over the next 6 games as well. It's interesting that Liverpool sit top because from game week 4, our fixtures turn. They're not fantastic, and I'll probably disagree a little bit with the numbers here. They're expecting 2.5 clean sheets. So it's actually got Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal all tied at 2.5 clean sheets over this 6-game stretch. So you're looking at probably Burnley, Everton, Palace, Brentford as those 3 clean sheets that you're looking at potentially. Again, City, like no one has a run for me that like really stands out. So I don't think we're really in a position to make defensive transfers. Like I don't think I've got enough data to make an informed decision other than there's a clear fixture swing for Munoz, as Harry puts that in, and Crystal Palace defense from game week 4. If I just move this one, and then you can just see how that shifts already. Like Liverpool just automatically come down to 2.2, which is weird because that means they're actually expecting Liverpool to keep a clean sheet this week against Arsenal, which is kind of ironic because I don't think that happens either. But then from next week, Crystal Palace gets Sunderland, West Ham. You're probably Liverpool at home is not the worst fixture for Crystal Palace. Then Everton, Bournemouth, Arsenal. Like Palace do have a very nice fixture run, and Nottingham Forest run is okay. Again, Arsenal, but I mean, let's go back to this week as well because then you get West Ham for Forest. You get West Ham, Arsenal, you bin that off, but Burnley, Sunderland, Newcastle, Chelsea, Bournemouth.
All right,
it's
I'm
not dreadful.
Nico
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, who do you move to? Like, even me with Murillo, like, yes, I could move Murillo to Munoz, but like, even, Burnley, Sunderland, I expect Forest. This is where I'm worried with Murillo. And there's a few games in there where I expect Forest to probably have the ball. And I was showing this to Damo the other day. They've had like between 55 and 58% possession so far through their 2 games. So that's actually probably taking away from his ability to get defensive contributions because they're having the ball. So last year, Forest were a very low block, low possession team, hit you on the counter. And maybe since selling Alanga and maybe trusting Elliot Anderson and now Douglas Luiz are a bit more progressive, I actually think Murillo might be a sell. And that's interesting because I was so for him, but I don't want to just rely on clean sheets. I want the clean sheets with the DC. So it's like I could just sideways him to Tarkovsky because Tarkovsky's always going to get, not always, but he's often going to get the DC. And then you get the clean sheet like he did this week and it becomes an 8-pointer. Where Murillo's gone 2-1, Tarkovsky's already covered him for the next month just off of that one result. And if Forest are going to be a team that have the ball, I'm not as confident that he's going to get those double hauls of DC and clean sheets. So that's just my early takes. I want to see this week. If he gets DC against West Ham and a clean sheet and show me that, they're going back to defending solidly and rigidly, then I'm okay with it. But I actually think Forest are starting to turn into a team that aren't going to just say, we're going to low block you and, you break us down. I actually think they believe they're a better team. Oh, damn. When did they play? They played Sunday as well, didn't they? All right. So before I bring it up, what do you guys think about what I was just sort of mentioning there about Forest transitioning? And the rumor is it could be Ange that gets the Forest job too, apparently.
I can't think they're going to get rid of him, but I did see that about Ange.
And I actually like that for their defensive contributions because if they're going to go full front foot, it means Murillo probably has to stay back and do a lot of 1v1 defending. So there's another layer to the complexity. Exactly right. So there's another layer to the complexity. So what are your thoughts around if it's Nuno and they're playing this way? This is what I'm talking about, though.
Do you think he keeps, like he goes to his old ways, Ange, if he gets the job?
Yep.
You reckon? Straight away?
Yep. Straight away. He has Williams and he has Aina bombing on 100%, like we saw last year. And then he has a Douglas Luiz sitting in there with an Elliot Anderson as a pivot, with Gibbs White in the 10, with Ndoye, Hudson, Ndoye, Chris Wood. He plays 4-2-3-1. And he just sends the fullbacks and he leaves Milenkovic and Murillo. But then I think it actually takes away from Elliot Anderson's ability to be that box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, he probably loses his DC potential.
No, he loses attacking potential.
He
keeps his DC potential. So that's just my early thoughts if that happens. If it's Nuno, because we didn't see this with Nuno last year. Look where Williams' positioning is, Dom.
Okay.
That is high. That is like assist potential areas.
Okay, so it's assists are coming.
Which is why Murillo's now not getting DC, because they're playing further up the pitch. It'd be interesting. I want to actually see, do I have the ability to go and see match plots from last year? I might try and do this later, and I
know
might
that
see
Nico Williams had like something ridiculous, like highest shots in the box for a defender, or like last season.
Yeah,
that's what I'm banking on.
It was per 90. But part of the problem with his per 90 numbers were he wasn't also playing 90 minutes all the time last year, so his numbers were a little bit inflated. Now, this is just a game, Forest versus Leicester last year, like end of last year. I just want to see what's the average positioning. Now, this is a game, again, you probably expect Forest to be on top of anyway. Why is it not loading? This is a bit annoying. We're just going to do it from here. You can already see, and it wasn't Murillo, but you can already tell like they're deeper. Look where Elanga was. Holy moly. So Williams, again, is still in that advanced role. Anderson's now more advanced as well. So it is interesting to keep that in mind. But anyway, that's not really relevant, but that is what it is. All right. Last thing I want to go through before we look at our teams, transfer targets for this week. So I did do a video on this on the channel already. So if you haven't, make sure you go and suss that out. If you haven't already, please make sure that you are subscribing to the channel, because we are edging our way to 80 subscribers. And I would really appreciate you guys from the subscriptions. Dom, you're going to talk us through the first player who is coming on the screen right now, because you are the biggest fanboy of this guy. Talk to me about Pedro Porro and why people should be bringing him into their teams.
Well, set pieces. Look how high he gets. He's actually in a team that is actually defending now. So he's back-to-back clean sheets. He's basically the perfect defender. He just does it all. 5.5. Like, he's going to get his attacking returns are going to come. Don't worry about them. Decent run. Very decent run. I just think he's the perfect defender for everything. And you add in now that defensively sound team that actually want to defend and keep clean sheets.
Yeah, I am very annoyed at myself. I'm very annoyed at myself that I didn't back my gut and go him and Romero.
You were so big on him pre-season too.
Yeah, I was so set on that 5.5, 5.55 structure. And I was tossing and turning between Romero and Lacroix, and that wouldn't really have hurt me at all. And I got it wrong. I backed my gut on Murillo, and I turned my back on Romero, and that was one that hurt, because I was actually really strong on it. And I was like, if I can just stick out the City fixture, I would have been fine with it. Damien, I'm going to get you to talk us through James Tarkowski, because he is absolutely lighting it up at the moment. The other Damien has him in his side, and I'm very, very jealous that was. I almost went against him because, like, the Branthwaite injury, and I panicked about, is their defense going to look good? They have only conceded 2 penalties this year, and other than that, they haven't really conceded a whole lot of chances.
Yeah, I had him. I actually transferred him out the last, like, pretty much before Game Week 1 deadline. I had him in the whole time, and I was certain of him. But I moved him to Pyro, so. But it's obviously worked out the same, or if not better. But with him, I was like pretty high on him during preseason because of the DCs. But something about Everton, I don't know, like they're still not an unreal team, and they're conceding for them is probably inevitable too. So it's not like they're going to keep clean sheets every week, even especially against the weaker teams. They'll probably still concede. But I don't look into DCs too much this year either. I know they're like, it's an extra route for points and whatever else, but my defense is stuck to like the way it always has been, which is fullbacks and attacking returns, which is why I haven't chosen him, because he doesn't offer much going forward. But in saying that, I still think he's a good pick, but not for me personally.
If I was to wildcard today, I would 100% have 4 5.5s or 1 6 and 3 5.5s, and probably play 4-4-2 every single week.
Yep.
And have a combination of Tarkowski, Porro, Munoz, and one more, Verge. Yeah. So you get like 2 attacking fullbacks that have the threat, and then 2 like locked away centre back type operators, or a Lacroix or a Romero like at 5. So you can kind of cover both, and then you play your fixtures. So if you've got like crap fixtures, you back the 2 attackers with the centre back with the good DC potential, and then you play your 3-5-2, and you just have maybe a Dewsbury Hall or a Anton Stack, or you have that 8th attacker who's playable, or you go 3-4-3 and you just constantly play João Pedro, Watkins, and Mateta, and then you've got a burner in the midfield, or you spread that money out of Palmer. That's all. If I was to wild card today, if I had 6 injuries, I'd be going heavy at the back, because the value, we're talking about Bruno and Salah maybe not being full value at their price. These 5.5 defenders scoring 170 to 190 points, they are going to be value. Gabriel, Saliba, even at 6. Saliba's getting DC with clean sheets. Like, it's bloody incredible.
To be honest, I don't think you can actually go wrong. Like, it's at the point now where you can't. Like, you can go with pretty much any 5.5 or any 6.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. Like,
there's a reason why they're priced there.
Yeah.
End of the day.
Like, you actually can't go wrong. It doesn't matter. One of them's gonna. If you've got 2 or you've got you're stacked there, you're gonna score. Like, it's bound to happen.
And I've got the negative variance of that so far. I've probably picked the worst of the 5.5s, like Murillo and Milenkovic have probably been the worst performing. But that's not to say that with West Ham and Sunderland in 2 of their next 3 games, that regresses to the mean. Like they got unlucky against Brentford and they concede 1 against Crystal Palace. So be it. Like, it happens. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you'd be more concerned if they're conceding 3, 4.
3s and 4s. And we saw in pre-season that they weren't an attacking side. We saw them keep so many clean sheets in pre-season. I actually think they're going to turn the attack down a little bit, and they're going to regress a little bit back to being that team that sit in a little bit more and go for counter-attack, because I actually think it suits their team a little bit better anyway. But that's just me personally. Jack Grealish, I'm not going there yet. I want to see it for an extended period of time. Where I think Jack Grealish could be an option is from game week 6. And this is sort of around the realms where I'm looking at wildcarding anyway. There's a few good fixture swings. Arsenal get a good swing around this time as well, as do Man City. So this could be an option for me if Sars had his good run, and I'm a bit happy with him, coming and going. The West Ham, Palace, City, which is a huge revenge game at the Etihad, Spurs, Sunderland, Fulham, Man United, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Forest. That run. And if Jack Grealish looks fit, firing, and the Jack Grealish who's doing all this stuff, taking people on and creating chances and getting assists is probably more important for him than actually scoring goals, because he's going to attract so much attention on that left wing that he's going to bring all these other assets into the game. If it's Dibbling and then Dye and Dewsbury Hall and Barry up front, I actually think there's potential with Everton going forward. So, look, not saying to go buy him this week, but I'm very, very keen on a Jack Grealish, but that's a huge watch at the moment. Just let's see how the Everton team settle. Let's see how they go between now, the international break, and then up to game week 6. And then I think we can, even if he gets up to 6.7, 6.8, I think there's routes to him that we can make. So what are your guys' thoughts on Jack Grealish before we go on the last one before our transfer plans?
Yeah, I think he could be a definite option. I think I said to you after their game, they looked really, really good, Everton, but you got to think they're in a new stadium. They were up and about.
And they saved the penalty at a crucial time.
But I think if he looked really, really good, Grealish. He was going at his man, getting balls across the box. I think he's gonna get his assists. Yeah.
Damien, thoughts?
Pretty much what Dom said. Yeah, he's a watch. I wouldn't buy him now. I did think about it, but no.
It's too early.
I don't know. It's that like new stadium buzz. I feel like as soon as it like something bad happens, then it just won't. Like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of hype, new transfer. You know what I mean?
Middling team as well. It's not a great team at the same time, so I can understand that.
Like, there's no big attacker there for him to, like, you know what I mean? To pass to, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So before we get into Semenyo, if you haven't liked the stream already, please do. There's only 4 likes on the stream. It really does help us push the stream out. So if we can try and get that as close to 10 as possible before the end of the stream, that would be great. And also, could you also subscribe. We are sitting on 78. If we could finish the stream on 80 subscribers, that would be absolutely fantastic. Antoine Semenyo. Other Damien, it was absolutely filthy when we were playing because he had Semenyo in his draft for a very, very long time. And the only reason he didn't go there was the Liverpool fixture in game week 1. And the conversation was, if you think he's that good of an asset long-term, just pick him anyway. And what I've learned this year, and I've kind of done it mostly with my team. Like I thought Salah was that option. I didn't think he was going to go and score doubles in hard games, but I picked him anyway. I'm not going to blow my team up. I'm a bit more mature now that I'm playing FPL for a while. I can expect to drop some points in the first couple game weeks and be okay with my rank, and it's actually not gone that bad anyway. But I don't mind picking guys with a vision of long-term. You know, you can pick a whole team with 3 weeks in mind, but then like everyone else around you is going to catch you anyway at some point. So it's not a huge advantage. Semenyo was the player. We knew, but this is where like my preseason bias doesn't line up sometimes because we looked at Nottingham Forest defense. They concede 1 goal in 5 games in preseason. The league starts, they concede 2 in 2. Semenyo, Bournemouth couldn't win a game to save their lives in preseason. Yes, they lose to Liverpool late, but he goes and scores 2. And we knew like him and Evan Nilsson, we know they're going to be the attackers. Like there's just no question mark on them for Bournemouth. There's question marks on their defense, but their attack didn't change. So nothing should have changed with regards to their attackers other than Kluivert being injured. He is the definition of a talisman. Against Liverpool, he went out in the right wing in a counter-attack game. Then he plays against Wolves and they throw him on the left. They are just going to use Semenyo as their fulcrum in that attack. And it's like, if we're the better team, you play on the left and you cut inside and you shoot. If we're the worst team, you go sit on the right wing, we play you in behind and you just run in a straight line. I am 100%. If Palmer comes out of my team this week, it is for Semenyo. And if I get to Thursday and Semenyo's close to his 3rd bloody price rise, I'm pulling the trigger on Thursday.
Oh, yep.
What are your guys' thoughts? Because there's a great question from Dim here. He goes, how high is the max someone should pay for Semenyo? Because I see he keeps going. I think the max is 7.2. I think if it gets to Thursday, because what's already happened to me this week is I'm off my ideal moves by 0.1. I can't move Murillo up to a 6 million because I've already been priced out of it. So I don't want to get priced out anymore. And I'm just like, if you're going Palmer down, it's okay because you're making so much money that like you can get to the next bracket. But I think, so Dim's saying that he needs to free up money for Fulkrug. You got to then, if you're going Semenyo, you got to get him before he's at 7.3 because you just can't let Fulkrug keep getting away. What are your guys' thoughts on that Palmer move if Semenyo's looking at the price?
There's going to be so many people do it, and I think you're just going to do it. But I don't know. It's so hard with Palmer because we don't know if he's going to. Like, we don't know the severity of the injury.
My parents
it's
never
tricky
knew
because
that.
you don't want to pull the trigger and then Maresca says he's fine and he comes out and
Well, apparently he was carrying it against Fulham as well. Who did you play in the first game? Palace. He was carrying it against Palace as well, which kind of sums up maybe the performance in that game. Palmer's sitting at minus 35%, but the hourly change isn't very high at the moment because even though it's reported that Palmer's going to miss this week, it's not actually official yet. And apparently he went for scans. He's getting the results overnight for us tonight. So we should know tomorrow night at the latest, the results of the scan. So something to keep in mind is just keep an eye on the Fantasy Football Hub price changes, because if that 35% becomes 75, 80%, then he 100% goes down by the deadline. So I just think Semenyo, with this run of Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, Leeds, Fulham at 7.2 million, he's the only midfielder that I look at. And I'm saying that because I own Salah, but Semenyo is the guy for me. I think he's just, huge option for my team. What are your guys' final thoughts before we get on to transfer plans for this week?
go Damo.
Pretty much, I'm not going to move off Palmer unless I 100% know, because I know exactly what's going to happen. If it's up in the air and I take him out, he'll score a hat trick, and then if I leave him in, then I'm just going to get burnt and he misses. So, and he's that type of player where like
just seen a
he'll
tweet. Sorry,
score-
Damo. Cole Palmer's
Sorry?
not training with the first team squad this morning. Just seen a tweet from a reputable source.
Maybe then I have to take him out. But yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
think
just
now that I think that, I don't think they're going to risk him coming into an international break. Like, it's just Fulham at home. Sorry, is it Fulham at home? Fulham at home.
yeah.
It's week off, and then doing this is like, all right, he pulls out of the England camp, even better. Gives him 2 full weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just reading some tweets now. I don't think he's definitely not.
He's fully track suited up. I just saw it as well. Like he's not even in the gear.
Yeah,
so for me, it comes more down to his price, I think, as well. Like if that price now, like if everyone sees that tonight and we wake up tomorrow and he's sitting at -80, like I think you just pull the trigger. And it's actually good planning because on Fantasy Football Hub, I have set my team up. I've got 2 options for this week, and I think I'm set on this one. And I'm of the same opinion as you, Damien. I don't like pulling my transfers and using them both at the same time. But the position that these 2 moves put me in this week, if I just do this, because this is what my moves would be if it was one transfer. So it would be Cole Palmer to Semenyo, as we said. That would be 7.2, though, not 7.1, because I made this before the first price rise. Before the second price rise. So that would be my team this week. So the decision I have to make is when do I make the move on a Mark Guiu? Because I technically don't have to make the move, but I've got 3.4 million sitting in the bank, and I don't like having that much money sitting in the bank. I want it in my team. So what would happen this week is I'd have to play Richards probably over Diouf. End of the day, I've got Forest versus West Ham. I've got Villa, like in Watkins versus Crystal Palace. Not optimal. You just deal with it. It's fine. I'm not going to burn a transfer on my defense because I'm happy enough with that mix. The reason I like it is because then this week I can go into Mateta and just make sure that he's actually going to be there for Sunderland and then still have 1 free transfer in the bank, and then I'll play the roll game again. So that's my sort of early thoughts. It's like, do I really need to bring him in here for Aston Villa away? Probably not. So I just deal with Reinders for a week, and I just deal with Guiu on the bench. And then next week I make that striker move, and then I play the roll game between Pedro Porro, Richards, Diouf, and Murillo. Not ideal defensively at all, but that should get me up to a game week 6 wild card, maybe a game week 7 wild card. But I think it might be a game week 6 free hit, and then a game week 7 or game week 8 wild card, and then hit the fixture swings, as they come. That's sort of my long-term thinking. But for this week, I think it's Semenyo definitely in for Palmer, and I don't think I make that second move. Do you guys reckon get Mateta in because he's Villa look crap, or do you reckon wait the week and get him in for Sunderland, West Ham, and make sure he's fit from the international break?
Yeah. Give him the week.
Yeah.
Give him the week.
That's
Did he get
my
caught
thought.
up for France?
I got no idea. But even if he didn't, even if he gets injured at training or something, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many possibilities in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think.
So I think I make the one move and I just leave 3.4 million in the bank for 1 week and get Semenyo in for Tottenham.
Good to have.
And again, not ideal because I've got Semenyo versus Pedro Porro. I've got Richards versus Watkins. So it's just one of those ones where you kind of hope one of them blank, one of them get a clean sheet, then the opposite. So that's me. If anyone wants to get their teams loaded up, if they've made moves like Dom, I think you need to probably load yours up, Dom, because I think we need to debrief all these decisions you've been making. Because when you sent your photo this morning, I said, what the hell happened? I saw you on Saturday, and none of this was in your team on Saturday.
You kind of started the process on Saturday night, so I'm going to blame you.
No, I just told you that Fulkrug was going down. I didn't recommend you to do anything. I just said, be aware, Fulkrug's going down.
You said he's going to go down before we wake up Sunday, so I just thought I'll do it.
He's 5.9. Now, before Dom gets into his team, thank you to the 2 people that did subscribe because we are up to 80 subscribers. So massive, massive props to those 2. Let me know once you've added your thingy to the stage, Dom. There it is. And if we can get those likes up, it really does help the channel grow. So we have gone up to 7. Look at you guys go. Let's see if we can push it. The viewers are up a little bit now. We're up to 9 concurrent viewers. Can we push it up to 10? Dom's team for the audio listeners. Let me read it out first, Dom. He's got Sanchez, Diouf, Pedro Porro, Nico Williams, Anderson, Dewsbury Hall, Gakpo, Reinders, Haaland, Watkins, João Pedro. When did you bring Gordon into your team?
Okay, so Saturday night before we went to bed, after you left my house, I was like, all right, I've got to beat this full Krug price drop. I was like, all right, I'm going to bank on Palmer. I had the same logic. They're going to put him on ice for a week, coming into the international break. I was like, double transfer, banked it. Game week 3 was always going to be my bench boost. So I was like, all right, let's go. Bang. Palmer to Gordon. Gordon had 7 shots last week, and he had 4 shots in the box. Playing as a 9, he looks good. Isaac's nowhere. I was like, all right, great point of difference. Great, phenomenal run coming up.
Penalties.
Let's get him in. Penalties. Guy's a gun. Tried to break someone's leg last night.
Tried to break Virgil's leg, of all people.
So
he's done. I mean, look, that is just unlucky.
And
that's
then
just
obviously
unlucky, though.
full credit to João Pedro, who I'm happy I did. And then it gets better. Saka's hammy goes 4 weeks. Hoover, whatever his name is, off after 35 minutes. I don't know what he did. So there's my whole bench boost. This would have been a brilliant bench boost, if I'm completely honest. Yep. So
it actually would have been a good bench boost too, to be fair.
Would have been a brilliant bench boost. This was always my plan from pre-season. Bank the 2 transfers, go bench boost. Game week 3. And then, there goes some hammies and potential broken legs. We're trying to give broken legs. So that's where I'm looking. Look, it's not the worst. It's just like Saka and Gordon, 3 games minimum, done. So I just got to ride this team for a couple of weeks.
Like, at least you've got, a playable 11 anyway.
I've got an 11. It's just if one of these guys gets suspended or injured over the international.
Then you're just making a move.
I have to make my move. I want to try, bank it. But,
that's fine, because you got a whole bunch of different price points. It's not the end of the world as well if you have to make a move.
Yeah, it's more annoying. But anyway, that's why you don't make your transfers in the game week.
Before the deadline, Well done, Dom, because if people didn't realise, I think Dom was about 30 points ahead of me after last week, and now I'm ahead of him by points. I think hopefully this week, if I don't extend my lead on Dom's team,
I got a Saka goal.
He would have got a huge return had he not come off as well. So that's just unlucky.
He's made of glass anyway.
Yeah, maybe something for us to consider long term. All right, Damo, what are your early thoughts? You said you're going to not really want to look to make moves unless it's Palmer. Is that really the only area you're going in?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I've got to get rid of Solanke, but I don't know. Like, I want to go Wood, but I'm not going to bring him in before Arsenal. And then I'm not going to go Mateta, obviously, for the reasons discussed before. So I'll probably just bench him, take Palmer out for Semenyo, and then just roll, I think. But I could change my mind, but we'll see what happens. I don't mind Gyökeres as well, but not this week. Something about him, I don't know. I feel like...
Their next...
You can't really go by a lead, like Leeds at home. Leeds are crap.
Yeah, I know.
The next 4 for Arsenal are extremely tough, but this is where I'm thinking about... I'm going to bring the fixtures back up, because instead of going attack or defense, I'm just going to go... Stuffer. We'll go attack again, because no one cares about defense, do they really? Where is fixture analyzer? If we go attack, but we get rid of... Where's this Arsenal run start? I think it's around game week.
Penalties, now that Saka's not there, I feel like the penalties helps his case, obviously.
Oh, he's 100% on penalties.
Like, there's no one else at that price if you're going to want to go there. I wouldn't go Watkins because it's Villa, but yeah.
How do I get this screen back up? All right, I found it. This is the last thing we'll talk about. So if you want to get your questions answered, guys, now is the time, because once we've gone through Arsenal's fixture run, we will answer your questions. So get them in the chat now. Get your teams on Twitter. If you go over to Chasing Rank over on X, Dom has a post that says we are live right now. Right now, there is no one that's got their teams in there. If you want a
Reply
quick
to
team
any
review,
tweet. Reply to any tweet.
no, that tweet because I won't
Okay.
find it. So that
Right.
tweet, the most recent tweet, so I can see it. This is what I'm looking at. So game week 7, look at the Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal fixtures. Man City, for the audio listeners, go Brentford, Everton, Villa, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle. Not fantastic, but serviceable. Liverpool go Chelsea, Man United, Brentford, Villa, City, Forest. Now, they're expecting goals there. I actually don't think they're fantastic, but the one you want is you want Arsenal. I don't know how Hub have Arsenal's goals lower than Liverpool's. They go West Ham, Fulham, Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, Tottenham. That run for Arsenal is just incredible. Like that is just
that's a wild card worthy.
And for me, it's game week 6 free hit to get the City Burnley. Like you could go just game week 6 and play it a week early, which I don't love because you got Liverpool playing Crystal Palace and you've got Arsenal playing Newcastle. So I'd actually rather free hit in 6, go get the Burnley fixtures and get the Spurs against Wolves and get Villa against Fulham. Like, target those fixtures all at home. And then in game week 7, rip the wild card and load up. Honestly, probably move Salah on at this point and go Haaland and Gyökeres and maybe Palmer if he's back as well. Like Chelsea's run's still okay. Like you get Liverpool, Forest, which are hard for 2 weeks, but then you go Sunderland, Tottenham, Wolves and Burnley. So you probably still want some Chelsea coverage. So if you're loading up on City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs even, there's some really solid teams there with some really good fixtures that I think a game week 7 wildcard looks really strong. I know we were talking potentially about like a game week 12 wildcard, I reckon as well. I don't think I like that. I think for my personal team, I need to restructure my defense around game week 7. And which for me, that's going to then, if we look at clean sheets, I need Arsenal defense for West Ham, Fulham, Palace, Burnley. Like I need one of Saliba or Gabriel. Like that's just a must. And I need a Gyökeres. And they're probably the only 2 assets I'll touch from Arsenal, if I'm perfectly honest. What do you guys reckon about Arsenal?
Yeah, agree. Like Gyökeres for that run, I think must have.
Yeah, he's a
And then one of the defenders. And then I don't know about the wingers. Like who takes Saka's role? Is it the Madueke and
Madueke and Eze plays left.
Oh, I forgot about Eze. Oh god. Yeah, Eze, Jock and defender triple up.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I want to see the minutes on Eze first, personally, because there's still Martinelli there, and I think depending on the game,
Eze will have to be close to 90. That's a given.
I think in games though where they play like Liverpool, don't be surprised if it's Martinelli. In games like Burnley, don't be surprised if it's Eze, because like in those low block games,
nah, he's too good not to start. In that team as well, we haven't seen him in a team that's like
that good.
I think he starts every week.
I mean, there's potential. I'm intrigued to see how he plays. I mean, Odegaard's injured as well, Dim. So I don't think Odegaard's playing this week. No Odegaard, no Saka, no Havertz.
Yep.
I actually think Eze plays in the 8 this week, to be honest. I do think.
It's a big game to chuck him into. Nah, they'll go Zubimendi.
What do you mean? He's a big game player. Of course he's going to play.
Unless they play like Zubimendi, Rice.
Rice, Eze. 100%.
Eze is a true proper 10.
Yeah. You'd be dumb not to. All right, what do we reckon?
Zubimendi, yeah. Yep.
How long are we holding on to Ollie Watkins?
Great question. I was actually just thinking that.
Game week 7 for me on the wild card. And you even get Burnley, like if you look at I just took the runaway, idiot. Their run from 7 is Burnley, Tottenham, Man City, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Leeds, Wolves, Brighton. If you can just wear the City, Liverpool 9 and 10, the run through to 14 is still fine. Like I've got no intention of selling Ollie Watkins at all. I'm actually it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, it's 2 games. He's Premier League proven striker. He's a 15-goal a season striker. Villa will figure it out. They're too good not to figure it out. And I just think get Morgan Rogers back in the 10, piss Tielemans back into the 8, find a left wing solution, get Marlon somewhere on the pitch. Like, just go back to what worked last year. Don't keep trying Rodgers on the left and Tielemans in 10. That's not working. Tielemans has to play deeper, dictate the play, and get Rodgers in the 10. And I think that'll be fine. So just be patient with Watkins. I know it's frustrating. Worst case scenario, game week 7, if you want to go Gyökeres and you don't want 2 9 million strikers, that's where you make the switch on your wild card, or you get Gyökeres for that run in game week 7, and you just keep that 9 million price point. That's my thoughts. Anyone with objective view to that, or is that on the money?
Yeah, because the only number 9. So
I'd rather just have Rodgers instead of Watkins. If you're gonna have one of them, I'd just rather take Rodgers.
Would you use 2 transfers to make that happen, Damo, though?
With the run they got, and if there's improvements, yeah, I would. Definitely.
Interesting. All right. Whilst you're on it, Damien, you were talking about this before. You're in this market, 7.5 million striker. Who's the best one?
For this game week, Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro.
Well, actually, Pedro, like long term, but Mateta, I think, after this week, after international break.
I want both. And I'm going to have both next after the international break. So that answers my question. Look, if Wood was guaranteed to play 90 minutes, he's just too old now. Like, I love Chris Wood, and he's probably the best finisher of the 3. But he's only going to play 75 minutes tops every week. So
yeah, he only needs a chance or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you want him on the pitch for 90 minutes. Like, João Pedro is going to get more chances. So that's what you're paying. Like, people say, why are you paying 7.5 for Wood? Versus Pedro versus Mateta, because they've all got different circumstances. If you're going to get 75 minutes out of Wood and Pedro, give me the volume of chances over the better finisher. But I actually thought, because Palmer was meant to start on the right on the weekend, Pedro in the 10 is going to be incredible. If Pedro actually plays 10, he's going to be so good. And that's where he was really good for Brighton. And without Palmer, he's going to be on penalties as well. And I just think, do you reckon Enzo? Enzo could take them too, though. But anyway, we'll figure that out later.
Nah, not yet.
Pedro?
Yet.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I am very, very bullish on Pedro. And if Palmer comes back in eventually on the right wing anyway, I think Pedro on the 10 is fantastic.
What about Richarlison?
I'm not sold long-term that he's the 9, but he also hasn't done anything wrong to deserve to be chopped. But I think once Europe comes around, him and Solanke is just going to keep... Look, if one of them gets a serious injury, I know it sounds bad to say, but then you just take the other one, because like the striker right now for Tottenham and the strikers for Brentford under Thomas Frank have always been strong. So if you know who the number 1 is, then you take the number 1. But like the fact that people are buying him so much right now is really off-putting, because the minute he's not the guy, he's going to drop significantly as well. So I just wouldn't touch the Spurs striker. Like, I'm not sold on the Spurs attack. I was trying to mention it earlier, but we're kind of moving on. Brennan Johnson, I'm not a huge fan of anyway. Kudus looks good, but I'm not a fan of his output. Sarr is definitely not going to be their 10 long-term, and they haven't got a settled striker. Like, yes, they're playing well, and everything else around that team's looking really strong, but I think wait for the transfer window to close. If Savinho walks in and a 10 walks in and maybe Kulusevski comes back, don't be surprised if people start having minutes chopped around. So I'm a bit concerned about their minutes long term. So I'm just avoiding their attack at the moment. Quick question from Cow. Best wildcard week, had 13 in mind, but now thinking 6 and 7. 13 is the other fixture swing for Liverpool and City. So it depends on your team. Like, I'm probably going to rip it in 7 because I need to restructure my defense and I'm not happy with it. If I had Tarkowski and not Diouf and someone else I was happy with, maybe I'd wait till 13. But I reckon in order for me to restructure my defense, I can't wait till 13. If Richards just starts playing well for Palace and I'm playing Richards, Porro and Murillo every week, then so be it. But I'm not quite happy with my defense with Diouf and Esteve taking 2 spots up and then having to rely on Richards, Murillo at the moment. That's where I'm leaking points. So that's just a personal thing. So I am happy with that. And that is where we are going to wrap things up. We've gone a touch over the hour. We've gone into heaps tonight. So well done, lads. That was a big, big effort. We were a bit lighter last week because it was just me and Damo. But Damo 2.0, thank you for joining us tonight.
No worries.
First debut.
No
and
worries.
He's putting us to shame at the moment by well out in front in the lead. Quick shout out to Dim as well, who's top of the league and had an absolute stomper of a week this week. So if I quickly bring up the Chasing Rank League, Dimmy is sitting on top there at 142 points. Then Justin Foster on 138. And Russo gets a shout out. I don't know if he's here tonight. I haven't seen him in the chat. With 86 points on the week, with Palinia goal and clean sheet and 3 bonus. Jokeres with 2 bonus and 2 goals. And Jurian Timber with 63 minutes played and 3 bonus on the week. So well done, Russo. Yeah, the Timber pick. Who I actually got some returns out of him last year, but well done, Russo, on that one. That is where we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you to everybody who subscribed and liked the stream as well. Your support is massive. We're sitting on 9 likes. So hopefully someone, as they get off the stream, can hit the like button. But we will see you guys next Tuesday for another stream.